All right, guys, we are back for the second installment of this new series on my pro debut in Houston, Texas. 2 weeks to the day officially. We've got another high day today, which is actually it's only the second of this prep, and funny enough, the first one was it was so exciting that I got that on camera too. Uh, this one will be a lot more focused on the training and just kind of recapping prep thus far, the game plan moving forward, and kind of where I'm at with everything. So nothing too wild and crazy, pretty casual. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of play it by feel and whatever pops in my head. Maybe you guys will see some of that in the gym or afterwards. This one will just be more of kind of day in the life and just some stray thoughts that have been popping in out of my head as I go along. So hopefully that's a little bit more relatable, and hopefully that's fun for you guys too, because I know it's been fun for me. So I will see you guys after the gym. We do have another back session going down any minute now. Hope you enjoy it and talk soon, guys. All right, guys, so you will notice that this is the same workout that I did for the last video exactly 2 weeks prior, which was accidental. So I figured I'd talk my way through this one and just kind of let my thoughts come to me as they will and think out loud as I go along here. So making it up as I go. You'll have to forgive me if it's a bit monotonous, but it's 2 weeks out and my brain is not all the way there, if I'm being honest. So, starting things off, you just saw that single arm row, nothing new. I do these year round. I love them. I have played around with positioning and found that using this incline bench on the top setting as an elbow support there does help with that stabilized position quite profoundly. And yeah, I like to keep a nice neutral back there. You'll see it head's relatively in line with everything. Head over chest over hips. And that allows me to stay in a nice locked in position there. Everything's in the lats. I'm dragging that elbow along my rib with a good squeeze and freeze to finish. Next up here, I'm trying to be careful with the background audio, hoping this drowns that out a bit, or I'll lower the volume, because unfortunately, when YouTube hears my music playing on the JBL in the background of this gym, it does like to block my videos based on copyright. So if they hear a Bullet for My Valentine song, which is hilarious, they will block the video from certain regions, which is a big pain in my butt. But anyways, you get the idea. This is a chest supported row, T-bar row, whatever you want to call it. It works, so do them. Hammer strength high row. This one, it's funny. I like those little orange attachments that you'll see just below the actual intended handles there. And the reason being is because I have a little bit more play in the wrist. I can supinate if I want to, turn that wrist up, get a bit more into the lat. But you'll see I'm leaning back a bit more here, and that is because the intended target muscle for this is certainly still the mid-back. So this is a can't miss exercise. I love the little chest support, even if it's really just on my stomach and hips here. It's anytime you have the chance to stabilize a movement when we're training for hypertrophy, I do find that to be quite advantageous. Even after a career in powerlifting, you'd think I'd be all about my compound lifts and free weights, but I've already scratched that itch, and I know it's effective for moving to A and B as powerfully as possible, and I know what's most effective for building lean tissue, which is often the least effective way to get from point A to B. And this was a cool one. I did have two mismatch single rope lengths, so I'm trying to see if I can remedy that, but it doesn't matter because the tension's already pulled out by the time you're a few inches off the cable there, the pulley. But I really like them, so give them a go. So something that's been on my mind this year is that mentality during the transition from amateur to pro. especially when you're heading into that first pro show, because when you turn pro, apologies for being frank, but that means is that you're a good amateur. When you actually compete as a pro, and hopefully you get maybe a top 10 placing at a respectable pro show, that, in my mind, is when you establish yourself as a true professional. So, heading into this one, I've only had about 8 months since I turned professional in the Bahamas. And my weight cap was something like an additional 10 pounds from amateur to pro cap. So, another 10 pounds lean tissue. And I was 4 pounds under the amateur cap as it was. So, I was 190 at weigh ins for my previous final 3 shows as an amateur. And now, funny enough, I'm having a hard time getting under 200 pounds, which is awesome. And during peak week, I'm sure I'll just dump off another, at minimum 4 or 5 pounds from relaxing, dumping off stress, dumping off fatigue, just kind of rinsing all that off and flushing out a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to think that I'm not even under 200 pounds yet this prep. And my coach is very happy with the present conditioning to the point where we're probably not going to pull down calories anymore. That's why we're finally starting up with the high days that you see here, because we can't really get down much further without losing fullness and a bit of that size we work so hard for this off season. So heading into this pro show, expectation management is critical. Particularly because as an amateur, I never finished less than first or second. I never even got third. So when you're looking at a show that's one of the final ones to qualify for the Olympia of the entire season, you're gonna have a lot of guys that are gunning for it because they've got one win where they now have to have 2 to secure that qualification. And a lot of guys trying to get in on points that are bona fide stars. They're guys who've been to multiple Olympias, but if they don't get that second win or get the top 5 in points or whatever it is, then it doesn't matter. So, as the last chance to qualify, there's going to be some studs there. So, my goal for this one, quite honestly, is to really keep the focus on bringing my best physique possible, improving markedly from my amateur career, and looking like I belong. And if I can have a blast while doing all that, even better. But I am a firm believer that you've got to have fun with it. I don't consider this suffering at all. I don't get cravings because you can't crave what you don't have to begin with. I'm not a very food driven person. Meals like this are awesome for me. I have no complaints. I have no qualms. I'm very grateful. And I don't think about the sweet treats. I don't think about the burgers and pizza anymore and things like that. It just doesn't cross my mind. It's something I could just see probably buggering up my stomach pretty good, if I'm being honest, too. But yeah, I'm just so thoroughly entrenched and in love with the process that I'm not thinking much further than what's right in front of me. I think that rushing kills presence. And I'm very thankful to say that at this point in my life, I'm so enamored with my actual waking reality that I don't feel the need to think too far ahead. I just stick to the plan. I do what I'm told. I prepare for the next day like anyone needs to. Because, if you're failing to prepare, then you're preparing to fail. We've all heard that one, right? But beyond that, I'm just so in love with where I'm at. I'm not too concerned. And if I finish top 5, that'd be an absolute, I'd be over the moon. What, how incredible would that be to be top 5 at your first pro show and it's a stacked show in Texas for the last qualifier of the 26th season? That's incredible. If it's top 10, but I bring my best ever, even better. If I get dead last, but I look like a totally different animal, I look like a whole new competitor, and I look like a pro, good enough for the girls I'd go for. So that's where I'm at heading into this one. I'm just enjoying where I'm at, and I'd do this if it wasn't a sport. I'd do this if there was no money involved, which, hey, not much of that to begin with. So, yeah, that's kind of at least what's been weighing on my mind and my mentality heading into all this. So, yeah, I'm sure that'll get pretty heavily edited because it was a lot of words, but the more you know, I guess.